our Bills draft special. The Bills just had their first pick of the 2020 NFL draft, and with the number 54 overall pick, the Bills selected AJ Epinesa, an edge rusher out of Iowa. I'm Maddy Glab, and I'm joined by Chris Brown, our Bills insider. So let's dive into the stats here about AJ. This guy's huge. He's 6'5", 275 pounds. In his career, he had 36 TFLs, 26 and a half sacks, 9 forced fumbles. Chris, what stands out about him to you?
2 words: power rusher. That's what the Bills are getting in AJ Epinesa. And, you know, he's a guy that's just going to win with strength and technique over speed around the corner. We have different kinds of pass rushers in this draft. I was wondering if they were going to go for speed, but this was a guy that you had on your list, Maddy, earlier when we were on the broadcast. This is a guy that wins with power. Quite frankly, I didn't think he was going to be on the board here. There was no way I thought that he was going to be even an option for the Bills at pick 54 if they stayed put. But what's impressive about him is the production over the last 2 years in particular. He had 10 and a half sacks as a junior in 2018, and then 11 and a half last season as a senior. 8 forced fumbles in those 2 years, along with 31 and a half tackles for loss. This guy has deceptive explosion off the line. He's not going to win a 40-yard dash. He clocked it over 5 seconds in the 40. He's not a long speed kind of guy. He's sudden off the line, though, because his 10-yard split was 1.79 seconds. He's the first Iowa defensive lineman to have back-to-back 10-sack seasons in 15 years. The last guy to do it was Matt Roth, a defensive end at Iowa, back in 2005. And that guy was also a second-round pick back in the 2005 draft.
Yeah, coming out of Iowa, Iowa's not known to get too many 5 stars, but he was a 5-star on their team, made a huge difference there. He's also an athletic guy, played high school basketball, scored more than 1,000 career points. Another great thing about this guy is he can play in a 4-3 or a 3-4 scheme. That's definitely attractive to Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier, because they love to choose guys that they can plug and play and just play to different offenses and throw different offenses off. And you think about Miami and some of the offensive linemen that they drafted. Can this guy go up against an Andrew Thomas and some of their newest offensive line additions? Also with the Jets too, Mekhi Becton.
Yeah, I mean, you think about big offensive tackles, and it takes you time it with a sundial to get around them to get to the quarterback. This is a guy that's going to win with a different kind of method, and that's with power and strength, getting up under the pads, lifting the offensive tackle up off his feet, maybe getting him off balance, and then winning with technique. So that's how he wins. He wins with power. He wins with technique. Really, I don't think his skill set is all that different from what they had in Shaq Lawson, to be quite honest with you. Shaq was a player who won with power, and at 6'5", 275 pounds, it would not shock me in the least if we saw a player like Epenesa get kicked down inside on obvious passing downs in their turbo package, which was a package that they used Lorenzo Alexander in an inside position to rush from there. They used Shaq Lawson at an inside position to rush from there. I wouldn't be shocked if you saw Epenesa as a situational pass rusher inside on 3rd and longs, 2nd and longs, those kinds of plays. I don't think he's just going to be on the edge for this team.
Yeah, in the film they showed right when he was drafted, they showed him a lot going on the inside, filling that B gap, getting right to the quarterback. His versatility, how does he fit into a Bills-centric defense?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be part of the rotation right away, but we have to remember, you got veterans in front of him right now. You've got 3 guys in Trent Murphy, Jerry Hughes, and then Mario Addison, the free agent signee. That's just on the edge. And then we talk about the 2 guys they added in the middle, in Vernon Butler. And then also you had, who's the other Quentin Jefferson. Yeah, thank you. So you've got a lot of veteran talent that's played NFL games that's going to get the benefit of the doubt in training camp ahead of him. But this kid's coming on the hoof here. I mean, he is progressing at a rapid rate, as evidenced by his production the last 2 years at Iowa. And I know Iowa is not necessarily the NFL, but this kid's got the goods. He's going to get on the field early, at the very least on a rotational basis. And like I said, I think when Vernon Butler and run stuffers like him and Quentin Jefferson come off the field on passing downs, I think that's when he's a candidate to be kicked inside and rushed from an inside position.
Yeah, Brownie, you talk about him playing right away, and in a year where the offseason is so in flux, we don't really know what it's going to look like. Do you think drafting a player like him gives the Bills an ability to be able to play him right away due to his talent and versatility?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely going to get a chance to get on the field early. He was taken with the 54th pick for a reason. He's pretty darn good. He's got proven, he's not a 1 year wonder, I guess is what I'm saying. There is a long track record of production here. He was a highly touted high school prospect, as you mentioned. So, I mean, this is a kid that has the goods. So he's going to get on the field. To what degree, I think, is going to be up to him. If he can assimilate to this defensive scheme quickly and be quick on the uptake, then yeah, he's going to afford himself an opportunity. But the depth on Buffalo's defensive line has gone from okay to outstanding. When you think about the 3 free agent additions they made, Harrison Phillips coming back from an ACL knee injury after missing more than 3/4 of the season last year, and now you have Epenesa in the mix as well, along with a 7th round pick that the team was very high on last year, and Daryl Bam Johnson. So, I mean, you talk about depth across the board. Holy cow! So it's very encouraging to see what we see from them. And this was a defense that was top 5 in the league, as you know, but also was 10th against the run. I think the Bills, with this kind of beef up front, has a legitimate chance of moving into top 5 territory against the run.
Yeah, they were great against the run. They did struggle some of those games last season. You look at what they needed. They wanted some more pass rushers. They go and get that with AJ Epenesa. So let's look at what's left. So they choose an edge rusher with that number 54 overall pick. Brownie, what are you thinking that the Bills need to address next with that number 86 pick?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if they could get an offensive tackle. I haven't really been paying attention to the last few picks here since the Bills made theirs with Epenesa, but Josh Jones was still on the board last I checked, who's the offensive tackle from Houston, and Ezra Cleveland, the offensive tackle from Boise State. 2 players believed to be worthy of second-round grades. I don't know if they're going to get out of the second round and down to the Bills at 86. Probably not. So we're going to have to look at the next tier after that at offensive tackle. And then at linebacker, you still have some talented players on the board. Zach Bond from Wisconsin, who can play a bunch of different roles, and I thought was the closest thing to Lorenzo Alexander in the entire draft class if you wanted to replace him with an equally multifaceted type player. And then we got to look at running back and cornerback here, Maddy. I think the depth at running back is going to afford them the opportunity to wait even until day 3. Mm-hmm. But I think the value at corner might be something you want to take advantage of come round 3.
Yeah, right after the Bills drafted AJ Epenesa, J.K. Dobbins from Ohio State went to the Ravens, and Raekwon Davis out of Alabama, defensive tackle, went to the Dolphins. So we really haven't seen that run on running backs begin. I mean, DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins off the board, but there's still quite a bit of talent there that could be left in the 3rd and 4th rounds.
Right. And Jonathan Taylor went off the board too. I saw that earlier. I know my son was very disappointed. That was probably his favorite player in the draft. He wanted him to be teamed up with Devin Singletary. But yeah, just looking at some of the value that you could get come the 3rd round at running back. Let's not forget Zach Moss is still on the board, I believe, right? The Utah running back. I know he had a couple of injury concerns. Maybe that's why he's still out there. Then you have Josh Kelly, the UCLA kid who I saw at the Senior Bowl. He was a late fill-in at the Senior Bowl, and I believe it was for Zach Moss, and had a monster week, really made a good impression there. And then you're getting into some of those different kinds of backs, maybe not the north-south guys, but Darrington Evans from Appalachian State, a returner, a big play guy, Antonio Gibson from Memphis, who I absolutely love. This guy averaged over 11 yards a touch. He only had about 71 touches of the football in his 2 years at Memphis, and was taking it to the house like once every 5 times he touched the ball. Insane big play type player. I'd be over the moon if they could get somebody like Antonio Gibson in the 3rd round.
Yeah, A.J. Dillon is another running back who's also left on the board.
Right.
He's a 6-foot guy, about 247, I want to say. So he's your big running back. That's going to be somebody who's going to be able to complement Devin Singletary. When you look at what they want to add to this offense, Devin Singletary's 5'7". You probably want a bigger running back there to be able to add another facet, another wrinkle to your offense.
Yeah, Zach Moss and Josh Kelly also fit that category too. Bigger backs, more north-south, a lot less wiggle to their game. So those are probably those 3 main candidates coming up here. We'll see how long they stay on the board. knowing that that running back run, as you said, truly hasn't happened yet.
All right, let's wrap things up with one final question for you, Chris. So Ed Oliver falls to the Bills with the number 9 overall pick last year. AJ Epinesa is there at number 54. A lot of people thought he could have gone off the board late in the first round, early in the second round. What do you think of Brandon Beane being able to get some of these crazy talented defensive guys by just staying put?
Yeah, I think he knew, as well as a lot of other GMs, because we haven't seen a whole lot of trades here in the second round. I think only 2 to this point, with Seattle jumping up and one other team jumping up. I think what they saw was the value in this draft, the real meat and potatoes in this draft is rounds 2 and 3. Mm-hmm. And knowing you could get uncommon value at a number of different positions, I think it convinced a lot of GMs, including Brandon Beane, to say, you know what, I'm just going to let this thing come to me because I've got about 10 players that I would love to have, and I'm only 6 picks away from my choice. So I'm going to get somebody I love no matter what. And I think that was probably the case for Brandon Beane and a lot of these other GMs here in round 2. And so, and you just reminded me of something that I didn't even think about. We're talking about all these defensive line players. I didn't even think about Ed yet. So think about Ed Oliver and AJ Epinesa inside on a 3rd and 12, rushing the passer. Holy crap.
No thanks if I'm opposing offense. I'm going to run the other direction. I don't want to go up against them.
Yeah. And, oh, by the way, Jerry and Mario are on the outside. So have fun with that pass rush package.
Yeah, gosh, when you talk about the depth of this defensive line, I mean, holy moly, what they could do for 2020. It's going to be insane. I'm really excited about this number 54 overall pick. We have number 86 also in the 3rd round. So don't go anywhere. Chris and I are going to be on right after that 86th pick. So you know where to go. Come join us. We will break down everything you need to know about our newest bill. We thank you for joining us, and we will see you here soon.
Go Bills.